Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit the subscribe button. There you go, right down there. If you want to be among the first to hear my weekly takes, NFL, college football, more, right there. Instant reaction, 2019 Cowboys win. Strange. Lions looked like they had a walk-off two-point conversion or close to a walk-off, nullified. Then the Cowboys commit a penalty. And then the Lions, I would have kicked the PAT and get it to overtime. Dallas. I've come to the conclusion of what we watched tonight. Strange game. 800 yards of offense. Both teams averaged almost 6.5 yards of play. And it was 20-19. So I thought it was going to be a shootout. The yards would indicate, and the yards per play would indicate, it was a shootout. But you have a fumble by CeeDee Lamb near the goal line, little miscues here and there. I think what we watched tonight, beyond a strange game, was two good teams. Neither team, to me, is good enough to go on the road and win a big playoff game. Although I'll tell you, I thought about this tonight. I think I like Detroit more than Dallas. One of the reasons I like Michigan to win the national championship is because I've watched Texas, Washington, and Alabama each play at least 5 times. I've watched Michigan play probably 7. Every time I watch Michigan play, I get the exact same game. Alabama's offense is hit and miss. Washington's defense is hit and miss. Texas, both sides hit and miss. I get the same performance every time from Michigan. When I watch the Detroit Lions, there are things they consistently do. They consistently have 2 good running backs. Gibbs he is special. He may not be Adrian Peterson as a rookie, but that guy is special. Jahmyr Gibbs. He just doesn't look like a lot of other running backs. He's not Christian McCaffrey yet, but he has a burst and strength and quickness that is different. I get explosiveness out of the backfield with Detroit. I get a veteran quarterback, generally with time to throw, who's accurate. I get the best rookie tight end in a long time. And I get a good pass rush. They have flaws, but I know what I'm getting with Detroit. And some of those things travel well. A run game, a great O-line. I kind of know what I get. I also get a very, very risk-comfortable head coach. I mean, we all know Dan Campbell. He's the most aggressive coach in the league. So aggressive coach, run game, pass protection, great tight end. I feel like I get that every game with Detroit, win or lose. They're better at home than on the road, but they could have won this game tonight. I think both of these are good teams. Dallas is the opposite of Michigan football. And they don't give me the consistency of Detroit. They can't run the ball now. I mean, the offensive line's gotten worse. It's banged up. They can't run the ball. I pled with Dallas at the trade deadline. Go get Derrick Henry. Go get a power back. Go get a number 1. Don't get a guy you have to pay a fortune to for years. Go get Derrick Henry for a year. Give up a couple of picks, maybe a year and a half. Tony Pollard's a 2. I mean, tonight, he was the 3rd best running back in the game. I mean, Montgomery, Gibbs, then Tony Pollard. So you're just talking about a very, very, he's a number 3 starter. He's not even a number 2 starter in Major League Baseball. He's a 3. So Tony Pollard was a nice change of pace when Zeke was closer to his prime. He's just a guy. And he doesn't look like he's got quite the burst. He certainly doesn't have the burst of Jahmyr Gibbs. Forget it. Different class of running back. The pass protection for Dallas is usually good. It was spotty tonight. About the only thing I know I get with Dallas is CeeDee Lamb is a terrific top 5-6 receiver in the league. That I know. But even the secondary, they get torched. Deron Bland, come on. I mean, he is fun. He can play, takes big swings, but he gets burned too. He's not a top 5 corner in the league. I can't trust him. And Micah Parsons is a great athlete, and CeeDee Lamb is a tremendous receiver. But Dak's hot and cold. And Dak needs Come on, at this point in his career, Detroit's got one timeout left. There's under 2 minutes, and Dak's flinging it out of bounds. What are you doing? Come on, Dak. I mean, it's one thing with Mike McCarthy. None of us trust him situationally. I think Mike's a good coach, but we don't trust him situationally. But Dak's got to pick that up. You can't be in this league for, I mean, just certain things. I don't care if you're a trial attorney. I don't care if you're a landscaper or a quarterback. There's certain things right? Like you don't, you just don't, you don't throw it away and stop the clock for Detroit when they got one timeout left and they have to drive down the field. What are you doing? So, um, if you told me Dallas or Detroit right now to win a playoff game, to win two playoff games, don't know if either will, but I would take Detroit. It's the same reason I like Michigan to win the Natty. When you get into the postseason, what do you consistently deliver? You're going to have to lean on that stuff. Man, I don't know what Dallas gives me beyond an unbelievable receiver and an unbelievable pass rusher in Micah Parsons. That's just personnel. But what do they give you? Do they give you great first halves? Do they give you a great run game? Do they give you dependability in the clutch? Do they? No, no, no. Don't check any of those boxes. They're lucky tonight. They should have lost that football game. Detroit, apparently a Lions offensive lineman didn't check himself into the game, although there seemed to be some dispute on the Lions sideline. They were pissed. They were angry as if they'd done it right. Seems to me I agree with Troy Aikman. If you're going to run that play at that time, you're going to check with the officials. Don't love that call deciding the game. Um, but I've really lost. I got sucked in by Dallas. 25 years I didn't buy it. They reeled me in, about week 10 through about week 13, they reeled me in. And they are, I feel like I get less consistency every week. Hey, everybody gets fooled once in a while. I've been fooled by them. I don't think Dallas can win two playoff games. Not two road playoff games. Just can't. Just don't trust them. Detroit's got a division title. They'll get a home playoff game. My guess is they'll win it, even if it's the hot Rams. And I could see Detroit. I could. Philadelphia is not consistent enough offensively, has some holes in the back end. There are worse things in the world than the Lions getting to the NFC Championship. I want to say this about Jimmy Johnson getting into the Ring of Honor. There's an understanding at Fox Sports. I don't think this is a big secret that on the Terry, Jay Glazer, Howie, Michael Strahan, Kurt Menefee, Jimmy Johnson Sunday show, that Jimmy, once a coach, always a coach, is really the glue that holds that show together. That, he's on the set, he kind of organizes all of it, and you could see him take, the field tonight and the microphone, and, he's the man of the moment. He's very good at that. I've been at two or three dinners with Jimmy Johnson and the fellas. He kind of takes control of the room. That's what coaches do. Jimmy is in a really rarefied class, dominated college and dominated the NFL. There's just not a lot of Jimmys out there. I mean, most of these college coaches, even the great ones, Spurrier, Saban, Urban, it just doesn't work. Pete Carroll dominated college football for a few years. I don't think he's ever dominated the NFL, but he's certainly a good high-end NFL coach. But Jimmy's very unique. And when I used to work on the Sunday show, Jimmy was always the first to arrive. I had to arrive because my show was on earlier by an hour than him. So I would get in early. Our crew got in early, and Jimmy would be there by himself. He'd walk from the hotel in the wee hours of the morning, always the first to arrive. And after putting makeup on and prepping, I'd go in and have about 10 minutes, and I just pepper him with questions, and just always had great stories. Some I can repeat, some I can't. Any question you had about football, he was like a mentor. And I always appreciate that. I always appreciate, when they take time. I'm a pain in the butt. I'm just trying to figure out football and football philosophies. So Jimmy could tell you everything from recruiting high school players. I think he would have been great in the transfer portal. NFL. We talk about position coaches, hardest to find, easiest to find. And Jimmy always said, every time I'd ask Jimmy, most important thing when you're drafting players. He said it if I asked him 10 times. Smart, intelligence. If a guy can't learn the playbook and repeatedly makes the same mistakes, it doesn't matter how athletic they are, how talented. You got to get guys who are smart, work hard, head down, love the game, coachable. Week to week, you can add assignments. And I think this Cowboy team would drive him nuts. I think Dak throwing it out of bounds. Like, come on, Dak. What are you doing? You're better than that. It's just one of the reasons you could trust a Jimmy team. They were physical, they were punishing, but they were really good situationally. And boy, I worry about the Cowboys and that. But anyway, tip of the cap, Jimmy, long overdue in the Ring of Honor for the Dallas Cowboys. It's time for a parade in Pasadena, the Rose Bowl. Tradition meets college football action in one epic bowl game, and DraftKings is giving you an opportunity right now. DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for the app. Doesn't take very long. You get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on college football. I love betting college football, even more than pro football. I love betting college football. Download the app now. The code is Colin, Colin. Very easy. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. New customers score $150 instantly for betting just $5 on college football. How easy is that? Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The code is Colin, Colin. And the crown is yours. Some thoughts on the transfer portal. People, Florida State, Ohio State, all these teams losing players at the transfer portal. Take a deep breath. College football will look completely different next year. This was the last year of the old college football. 12-team playoff, expanded Big Ten, expanded SEC. It's going to look different. You're not going to see as many quarterbacks transferring out of these big programs because they're going to be in the playoffs. Ohio State's quarterback would not transfer out before a bowl game because he would be in a 12-team playoff. And NFL scouts that would be a highly, highly questioned move if you're going to the playoff or a national championship and you transfer it out. So you're not going to have that. So now, this year, some of these quarterbacks are like, what's the point? I'm playing in the Liberty Bowl or the Cotton Bowl. It's not going to be like that. And these bowl games are overwrought anyway. Let's be honest about 8-10 years ago, we got to a point where nobody watches half these bowl games. Nobody goes to 3/4 of these bowl games. And here's the other thing. TV networks run this sport. They can't make money on these bowl games. When I first got to Fox, Larry Jones, who's now retired, he was our kind of chief negotiator for the company. We were talking one time, and I said, our college slate, we only got like one bowl game here. I think it was the Holiday Bowl. I'm not even sure if we had it at the time. I said, why don't you guys add the Sun Bowl and a couple others and go after some bowl games? And he said, they don't make any money. So once something doesn't make any money for a sports network, you're gonna lean to stuff that makes money, like the expansion of the Big Ten and a 12-team playoff and the expansion of the SEC. Networks are the reason we're expanding in that direction. Is that bowl games were dying anyway. Networks, you had 2 or 3 that were break-even ventures, maybe 6, but the networks aren't making big money on these bowl games. They're paying a lot for them. There's only so many ad spaces available. Bowl games, I see the ratings that had been ticking down for years being less relevant, and this is the last year of it. Next year, college football, if it's a stock, buy it. The Big Ten is going to take over college football because they have so many different time zones. You'll be able to put a Penn State game on at 9 a.m. Pacific. Wisconsin playing a Pac-12 school at noon Pacific. At 3 or 4 Pacific, you could have the Huskies hosting Michigan, and at night you could have, whoever, Michigan State playing UCLA in the Rose Bowl. You're going to have 4 different games on because of all the time zones. Whereas the SEC, a lot of those games, a majority of those games are in one time zone, the Eastern time zone. So they cannibalize each other. Georgia, Texas, Bama can all be playing at the same time zone. So the expansion of the Big Ten is going to change the landscape. The Big Ten now is going to get much more coverage, much more discussion, much more eyeballs with the addition of the LA market, two schools, Seattle and the Oregon Ducks. It's going to be something to behold. And, the last year of anything, I don't care if it's the last year of a sitcom, the last year of a company, the last year of anything, a marriage, it's bumpy. This was just an ugly ending, an inevitable ending to college football's past. Now we're moving to 12 teams, explosion, growth of the Big Ten and the SEC, and it's going to be absolutely long overdue and fantastic. I can't wait.